There's a feeling that lives in the pit of your stomach. Not hunger, not nervousness, something older, something primal. It speaks in a language your mind doesn't understand, but your body remembers. You'll feel it the first time you meet her, or maybe the third, or the 10th. But once it arrives, it never truly leaves. It sits there like a stone, heavy and cold, whispering a truth you're not ready to hear. Run. Most men ignore it. They tell themselves they're being paranoid, overthinking, letting past wounds cloud their judgment. They look at her smile, her eyes, the way she laughs at their jokes, and they think, I'm just scared of getting hurt again. But that's not what this is. This isn't fear of love. This is your soul recognizing danger dressed in beauty. This is your nervous system detecting a frequency that doesn't match her words. This is the ancient part of you, the part that kept your ancestors alive, screaming through the only channel it has, your gut. I remember the first time I felt it. I was sitting across from a woman in a dimly lit restaurant. She was stunning, articulate. She asked questions that made me feel seen, but underneath the conversation, beneath the candlelight and the wine, there was this hum, this low-frequency dread I couldn't name. My chest felt tight, my hands were clammy, I kept shifting in my seat like my body was trying to leave without my permission. And in my mind, I kept saying, stop being weird, she's perfect. But my gut kept whispering, something's wrong, something's very wrong. I stayed, I ignored it, and for the next 8 months, I paid the price. Because your gut doesn't lie. It doesn't exaggerate. It doesn't hold grudges. It simply knows. And when it tells you to run, it's not being dramatic. It's trying to save your life. Your body is always talking. Most men just don't know how to listen. We've been trained to live in our heads, to rationalize, to think our way through everything. But your body operates on a different system. It reads energy, micro-expressions, tone shifts, pheromones, things your conscious mind will never catch. And when something's off, it sends signals. Tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, restlessness that makes you want to pace, shallow breathing, a sudden urge to check your phone, leave the room, create distance. These aren't random. These are warnings. Your nervous system is detecting incongruence. Her words say one thing, but her energy says another. She smiles, but her eyes don't. She says she's happy to see you, but her body language pulls away. She tells you she loves you, but something in her voice sounds rehearsed. Your subconscious picks up on all of it, and because it can't speak in words, it speaks in sensation. That's the gut feeling. It's not mystical. It's biological. It's your body's way of saying, this person is not safe. Not because she's going to physically harm you, but because there's a mismatch between what she presents and what she is. And that mismatch, that deception, even if she doesn't realize she's doing it, is what your gut is warning you about. But here's the problem. Logic is loud. Gut feelings are quiet. So you start rationalizing. Maybe I'm just anxious because I like her. Maybe I'm self-sabotaging because I'm afraid of intimacy. Maybe I'm projecting my ex onto her. And the more you rationalize, the quieter your gut becomes. Not because it's wrong, but because you've stopped listening. And that's when the danger really begins. Because a man who can't hear his own instincts becomes easy prey. She'll seem perfect at first. That's the trap. She'll say all the right things. She'll laugh at your jokes. She'll be interested in your passions. She'll make you feel like you finally met someone who gets you. And for a while, it'll feel like magic, like fate, like the universe finally answered your prayers. But underneath that perfection, your gut is screaming. Because perfection is a performance, and performances always have an agenda. You'll notice little things if you're paying attention. The way she mirrors you a little too perfectly. The way her stories always position her as the victim or the hero, never the villain. The way she asks deep questions but never really shares anything deep herself. The way she seems to know exactly what you need to hear, as if she's studied you. And maybe she has. Because some women don't fall in love. They audition. They learn your weaknesses, your wounds, your desires, and they become whatever you need them to be. Not because they love you, but because they need something from you. There are 3 types of women who trigger this gut warning. The first is the chameleon. She has no core identity, so she borrows yours. She loves what you love. She believes what you believe. She molds herself into your perfect match, and it feels incredible until you realize there's no one actually there, just a mirror reflecting your own desires back at you. The second is the black hole. She's charming, magnetic, but there's an emptiness inside her that nothing can fill. She'll consume your time, your energy, your peace, and still feel unsatisfied. You'll give and give and give, and it'll never be enough, because she's not looking for love, she's looking for something to fill the void. And you can't fill what has no bottom. The third is the hunter. She doesn't want a partner, she wants a conquest. She gets off on the chase, the seduction, the power of making you fall. But once you're hooked, once you're invested, the thrill dies, and so does her interest. She'll grow cold, distant, cruel. Not because you did anything wrong, because the game is over, and she's already looking for the next one. Your gut knows which one she is before your mind does. That's why it warns you early. That's why it whispers, run, even when everything looks perfect, because your soul can see past the illusion. It can feel the emptiness, the performance, the hunger, and it's trying to protect you from becoming her next meal. Let me tell you what's really happening when your gut screams at you. Your subconscious mind processes about 11 million bits of information per second. Your conscious mind processes about 40. That means there's a massive gap between what you know and what you think you know. Your gut lives in that gap. It sees the micro expressions that last a fraction of a second, the flash of contempt when she thinks you're not looking, the coldness in her eyes before she remembers to smile, the way her voice changes when she talks about her ex, the way she touches you not with affection but with possession. It detects incongruence, when her words don't match her tone, when her smile doesn't reach her eyes, when she says she's fine but her body is rigid with tension. Your conscious mind hears, "I'm fine." Your subconscious sees the truth, and it sends you a warning. That knot in your stomach, that tightness in your chest, that's your body saying, she's lying. And if she's lying about this, what else is she lying about? Your gut also picks up on energy. I know that sounds abstract, but energy is real. It's the feeling you get when you walk into a room and know something bad just happened. It's the way some people make you feel lighter and others make you feel heavy. It's the invisible exchange that happens in every interaction. Some people give energy, some people take it, and some people drain it like vampires. Your gut knows the difference instantly. When you're around her, pay attention to how you feel after. Not during, because during the performance is still active, but after, when you're alone. Do you feel energized or exhausted? Do you feel peaceful or anxious? Do you feel more like yourself or less? If being around her leaves you feeling drained, confused, or smaller, that's not love, that's extraction. And your gut has been trying to tell you that from the beginning. There's also a predator-prey dynamic that your gut detects. It's subtle, but it's there. The way she tests your boundaries to see what you'll tolerate. The way she pushes, then pulls back, then pushes again. The way she makes you feel like you have to earn her approval, her affection, her time. That's not partnership. That's a power game. And your gut knows it Because deep in your biology, you remember what it feels like to be hunted. And when you're around her, that ancient alarm goes off. Not because she's evil, but because she's operating from a place of lack, of hunger, of need. And need always consumes. I've seen men ignore their gut and lose themselves completely. I've watched strong men become shadows, confident men become anxious, peaceful men become paranoid, all because they stayed when their soul told them to run. The cost of ignoring your gut isn't just a bad relationship, it's the erosion of your ability to trust yourself. And once you lose that, you lose everything. When you ignore your gut, you teach yourself that your instincts don't matter. You teach yourself that logic and hope are more reliable than the wisdom of your body. And slowly, over time, you stop hearing it altogether. The warnings get quieter, the signals get weaker, until one day, you can't feel anything at all. You're numb, disconnected, living in your head because your body has given up trying to communicate with you. I knew a man once who ignored his gut for 3 years. He told me he felt it on the first date, that tightness, that unease. But she was beautiful, she was successful, she checked all the boxes, so he stayed. And for 3 years, he twisted himself into knots trying to make it work. He stopped seeing his friends because she didn't like them. He stopped pursuing his passions because she called them distractions. He stopped laughing because nothing felt funny anymore. By the time he finally left, he didn't even recognize himself. He looked in the mirror and saw a stranger, a hollow version of who he used to be. That's what happens when you ignore your gut. You don't just lose her, you lose you. Because every time you override your instincts, you betray yourself. And self-betrayal is the deepest wound of all. It's the wound that doesn't heal with time. It heals only when you start listening again, when you start honoring the whispers, when you start trusting that the feeling in your gut is not your enemy, it's your oldest friend. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what if I'm just scared? What if my gut is wrong? That's a fair question, because not every gut feeling is a warning. Sometimes it's just fear, fear of intimacy, fear of vulnerability, fear of being hurt again. So how do you tell the difference? Here's the test. Fear gets quieter over time. Real warnings get louder. If you feel uneasy around her at first, but as you get to know her, that feeling fades and is replaced by peace, that was fear. That was your past trying to protect you from a future that doesn't exist. But if the feeling doesn't fade, if it grows stronger the more time you spend with her, if it becomes a constant hum in the background of your life, that's not fear, that's knowing. Fear is general. Warnings are specific. Fear says, I'm scared of getting hurt. A warning says, something about the way she looked at me just now made my skin crawl. Fear is in your head. Warnings are in your body. Fear makes you think. Warnings make you feel. And feelings don't lie. Another way to tell the difference is to ask yourself this. Does this feeling make me want to run from love? Or does it make me want to run from her specifically? If you feel this way around every woman, that's fear. That's trauma. That's something you need to heal. But if you feel this way only around her, if every other woman feels neutral or warm, but she feels cold, that's a warning. That's your soul saying, not this one. Anyone but this one. Trust the pattern. Trust the consistency. And trust that your gut is not trying to sabotage your happiness, it's trying to protect it. There comes a moment in every man's life when he has to choose his gut or his hope, his instinct or his investment, his soul or his ego. It's the moment when the warning is so loud he can't ignore it anymore, but the relationship is so deep he can't imagine leaving. That's the crossroads. And the choice he makes there will define the next chapter of his life. If you're at that crossroads right now, I want you to know something. Walking away doesn't mean you failed. It means you listened. It means you valued your peace more than your pride. It means you chose yourself. And that's not selfish. That's sacred. You'll feel guilt. You'll feel doubt. You'll wonder if you're making a mistake. You'll think about all the good moments, all the potential, all the promises. And for a moment, you'll want to go back. Don't, because your gut doesn't care about potential. It cares about reality. And the reality is, if your soul is telling you to run, there's a reason. Even if you can't see it yet, even if she can't see it, there's a reason. Give yourself 72 hours. Walk away, cut contact, and sit with yourself for 3 days. No texting, no calling, no social media, just you and the silence. And in that silence, listen. Listen to your body. Listen to your gut. Listen to the part of you that's been whispering this whole time. If after 72 hours you feel lighter, clearer, more like yourself, you have your answer. That wasn't love. That was a cage, and you just found the key. Once you've walked away, the real work begins. You have to rebuild trust with yourself. You have to learn to listen again. Because ignoring your gut once makes it easier to ignore it the next time, and the time after that, until you're living a life that feels like someone else's. Start small. Pay attention to how your body feels in different situations. Notice when your chest tightens. Notice when your stomach drops. Notice when you feel light, expansive, free. Your body is always giving you feedback. Start treating it like the oracle it is. Spend time alone, real alone, not distracted by screens or noise, but quiet, still, present. That's where your gut speaks loudest, in the silence, in the stillness. That's where you'll hear the truth you've been avoiding. And when you meet a woman who feels different, who feels easy, who feels like sunlight instead of storm, pay attention to that too. Because your gut doesn't just warn you of danger, it also guides you toward alignment. The right woman won't make your stomach drop. She'll make your chest open. She won't make you feel anxious. She'll make you feel calm. She won't trigger your fight or flight. She'll trigger your rest and digest. That's the difference. That's what peace feels like. A man who listens to his gut becomes untouchable. Not because he's closed off, but because he's aligned. He doesn't chase. He doesn't convince. He doesn't ignore red flags hoping they'll turn green. He simply listens, trusts, and acts accordingly. And that kind of man, that kind of clarity, is magnetic. The wrong women can't reach him anymore. They try, but something in his energy repels them. Because he's no longer available for games, for drama, for depletion. He's no longer a source to be drained. He's a force to be reckoned with. And the right woman, the one who's been waiting for a man like that, she recognizes him instantly. So brothers, if you feel it in your gut, don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it. Don't hope it away. Listen to it. Honor it. Trust it. Because that feeling is not your enemy. It's your soul trying to save you. And the sooner you listen, the sooner you'll find the peace you've been searching for. If this message resonated with you, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Someone out there is ignoring his gut right now, and it's costing him everything. Help him wake up. Help him listen. And if you want more truth like this, subscribe and support the work. Because the men who learn to trust their instincts don't just survive, they thrive. Your gut was never wrong. You just stopped listening. Start again. Your soul is waiting.